Julius Mugwamba, who is in Kampala, Uganda. Thank you very much for joining us, Julius. Now, is Besigye still in custody?
As far as we know, Dr. Besigye is still confined at his home. Definitely, this is in line with what the police boss earlier told the media. General Kale Kayihura, this is the Inspector General of Police, was very clear with his words. And previously, the police had already made it very clear to the public and to Dr. Besigye himself that the police is not going to allow him to go ahead with the protest. And as we speak, there's still deployment around his home. I tried to reach his personal AD about some few minutes back before I got here to speak to you, and then I didn't get a response. But as far as I know, police is still confining him at his home. That's a few kilometers outside the capital, Kampala.
Now, Dr. Besigye's trial, where he's accused of disobeying police orders at the Kasangati Magistrates Court, is ongoing. Any indication on where this is heading?
Dr. Besigye has been to court, we should admit, several times he's been there, but the decisions of court have been, we should say, they've taken quite some time and they've not been so tangible for any reason to show that Besigye is doing the right thing or police. But as far as we know, that decision is not yet out. And police is going ahead to implement what they say is the law. And the law that they're implementing at this time is to hold Dr. Besgye at his home, trying to avoid what they call destabilization of the country. The police believes that if they let Besigye out, there's a chance that he could destabilize the country.
Now, Julius, how is the opposition on the ground reacting to his latest arrest?
There are not any good words for the police. Dr. Besgye himself thinks that the police are suppressing his rights. He has already condemned it. He has condemned the arrest of his supporters because today there were prayers at his party headquarters and some of the officials of the party were arrested. Some of the supporters were arrested. And you don't expect to have any good words for police. The opposition are very clear on this. They say this is against their human rights. They believe they should be let free, which police is not about to do.
Now, Dr. Besigye is waiting to receive the formal ruling from the Constitutional Court on his vote to result dispute. What are the ongoing processes and when is the court ruling coming forward?
As we speak now, the court already made its petition that was filed by one of the presidential candidates, who is a former Prime Minister, Mama Mbabazi. Mbabazi took the Electoral Commission and President Museveni to court, and he took advantage of the window that the Constitution gives to anyone to petition court if they are really opposed to the results that are declared. But the Constitutional Court already upheld the win of President Yoweri Museveni after the Electoral Commission said that President Yoweri Museveni won by a 60% vote. So next week, there's no two way about this. President Yoweri Museveni is going to swear in, so we don't expect anything from the Constitutional Court.
Now, Uganda's mainstream media of radio, television stations and even newspapers are still being accused of continuing to support what government sees as false claims by Dr. Besigye. How is the media defending itself in this regard?
There have been clashes between the state and the media, especially when it comes to electoral coverage of the elections, the coverage of our opposition leaders. Sometimes, and several times actually, the police boss has made it very clear. General Kale Kayihura has made it very clear that some members of the press are giving rise to what he calls defiance, which information is likely to destabilize the country. And the police has several times sent out cautions to the media that gives publicity to the opposition. The opposition has had a number of its events, a number of its rallies that they organize, and the police believes they are unlawful, but the media goes ahead and covers that. But again, speaking to the editors, people who run the media organization, the journalists themselves on ground, they are really opposed to what police say is restriction, or to when police comes to restrict them. Journalists, like anywhere else in the world, they need access because this access is granted to them by the Constitution. And when you speak to a number of editors, they would say, okay, this is not right. It's not really right for police to go ahead and arrest journalists, because a number of them who've been arrested in several events previously, they've been released without charge. So the editors still think, and the media fraternity, that they have a right to do their job and the police should let them do just that.
Julius, we've looked at what the media is saying, we've looked at what the opposition is saying. What are the people of Uganda saying about this? Because you did mention that regardless of what anybody says or does at this point, the inauguration is taking place.
What the Ugandans say in the street is mixed. You must understand that everyone has got their own supporters. President Yoweri Museveni has been in power for 30 years. And within these 30 years, he's managed to build a party that has its bases, that has its support, that has its fan base. Now, this is the number that voted him to power. So these people are looking forward to Thursday, on the May 12th, to swear in the person that they voted. But on the flip side of this, you should understand the opposition is frustrated to an extent. They will definitely subscribe to what their leaders say. Dr. Besigye came out and said this election was a fraud. And this is what his supporters and sympathizers equally believe. So you have two sides of the story. People who believe that President Yoweri Museveni is their man. They'll be there next week on Thursday to support him, to see him swearing for another 5-year term in office. But on the other side, the opposition will maintain their position, like what Dr. Besigye has said, that this is not about to end. They are not accepting what the results from February elections.
Let's look at reaction from other countries like the United States, raising concerns since Besigye's outcry. And there are also fears that the US may reconsider aid to Uganda. How is government reacting to this?
The government spokesperson at a certain point came out and was very clear when he was trying to respond to a letter by the US, by the US ambassador in Uganda. And the government feels that this is an internal matter and that the United States can say whatever they want, but the issues that happen within Uganda, Uganda needs to be respected. It is a sovereign country. Definitely the government admits to some of the challenges and it's cautious. You would say it's cautious of its relations with the international community. But as far as we know, it's not a big shake on ground, according to the words of the spokesperson of government. Yes, the US came and made that statement, but what happened in Uganda? The elections came on February. President Yoweri Museveni won and is swearing in next week. We are not seeing anything. We are not seeing something very tangible. What the US said maybe they're about to implement, and we look forward to see what will happen.
Julius, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for that. That was our correspondent, Julius Mugwamba, joining us live from Uganda.